Finding Marty's?
Yeah. Yeah.
Red one. Is there Marty there?
Yes.
Hi, welcome to the workshop.
Good morning. Wow.
What?
This looks good.
Oh, good.
So these are the benches you set up last night.
Yeah, that bench there, that bench is cut around this post. I cut this, I had to cut the main
Oh,
bend
wow.
and I fixed it into this.
Yeah.
So this ain't moving, they ain't going nowhere. So it's slowly coming together.
Wow, babe.
This goes up here.
What do you do with what do you do with the lathe?
It's a drill press. So you
Ah.
can repetitive holes, you can set it up. Steel is real good on this. And it's got like, it tells you what to cut.
On.
On?
Yeah.
Turn it on.
Yeah. On.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it on. You ready?
Ah, good morning. Hello. I feel like this is going to be my first proper kind of vlog from Tasmania. It's been such a busy time. It's honestly been a little bit crazy. Life has changed so much since I last did sort of like a proper sit down vlog. So it is now early May. We moved to Tassie on the 17th of April. So we have had Lulu's birthday, Grant's birthday, we've had Jard's come and stay with us with his best friend Ben. So we're here sort of on and off over a few days. And Laura was here for 10 days. Mum and Dad have been here. Dad is still in Tassie for another couple of weeks. And then they're actually moving back to Mornington. And it has just been the most amazingly difficult, exciting, magical, surreal, been like a time in my life that I've never had before. Full of so many emotions. Yeah, it's been all the emotions. Those feelings were so real and raw, I guess. Everything's really raw. That's a good way to sort of say it. The emotion of buying a house for me is a huge thing. For me personally, I never even knew if I really wanted to buy a house. The fact that I felt so at home in Tasmania, that's still I think kind of settling in for me as well. Like the fact that I felt so connected to a house that I wanted to make a home. And now we're actually here. Like we've had Laura here and Jard's here, so that feeling of having family really solidifies and puts down some roots. But it was all really quick, so it's also a bit painful as well in a way. I really miss Laura, obviously. Difficult, really difficult being away from Lou and not sharing my life with her in the way that we used to. But also it was the most incredible trip when she was here. She really had a soul nourishing time. I really felt grounded having her here. I really felt sort of breathe easy, knowing that she'd been here and she loves it and she knows that she'll always have a place here. I think we're both starting to sort of settle into not being around each other constantly, and it's just an adjustment, which so many things are that we are going through at the moment. Some things are really positive and some things are really difficult. They're not negative, they're just difficult, and they're a part of, you know, shaping this life and shaping the decisions that we've made into a reality. I guess everything's still really close to the surface, leaving Melbourne, but also making a move like this in life. Like, I guess when I get emotional, it's actually a good thing. Before we left Melbourne, it was emotional because it was painful leaving everyone that we loved, everything that we knew. Now it's actually good emotions, I think, sort of bubbling up over the surface, and I'm sure with me they will be for quite some time. Because I just feel quite honoured to have a partner that trusts me and that I trust, and you know, we can make a decision together to sort of have courage. I really feel connected to myself. This has really given me a bit of a rebirth in a way. This has severed me, I guess, from an old life, well, parts of an old life that really actually depressed me, to a life where I think we're going to be able to have our world opened just to all of these new wonderful experiences and opportunities to be in touch with myself and the earth and my boys and, you know, Grant as my husband and as a friend and as a person. I think there's real ground here for connection with each other and ourselves, and also the earth. I just really would like to be able to achieve a life of synchronicity with the earth, where I have sort of a peaceful and harmonious relationship, which probably sounds a bit fluffy and a bit la-la. But I guess what I mean by that is eating seasonally, environmentally and economically, sort of removing myself from products that I'm eating because they're not seasonal, and because they're having to be transported quite a way, and then I'm, you know, buying those products and contributing to a cycle of consumption and pollution. These are all things, I guess, that I feel really passionate about. Sustainability, environmental, political issues, sociological issues, spiritual issues, myself and my being. And I guess before, like, all my videos leading up to the move were more about the move and why we were moving, and you know, what I was trying to achieve, what Grant was trying to achieve, and as a family what we were doing. Now I guess, you know, this is going to be more like a vlog channel of my journey, learning how to live off the land, eat food that we grow from a seed. I mentioned quite a while ago that I'm really interested in waste-free living, which I still am. I guess we're disconnecting from mainstream a little bit. In doing so, we are really finding a true connection. And when I talk about all this stuff, it's like specifically just about myself, you know? These are just things that I want to really significantly think about in my life to a depth, and that's just how I am, I guess. People that sort of know me know that I think, I guess, quite deeply and maybe too deeply sometimes about things. That's just how I am, and I love to wonder, and I can sort of fall into those places of wonder and inquiry for lengths of time. For me, this is really about like an inward journey as well as an external journey. This is about getting back in touch with myself, and peeling back the layers. I feel like, for me personally, I'm gonna have to say that for a while until, like, I feel comfortable with people knowing that I'm not passing judgment or expectation or whatever on other people. But I guess I just want to peel back those layers, and living in a fairly built up urban setting and community, I feel like I was just buried under layers of fakeness, I guess. Yeah, so I'll explore that more. I also wanted to talk just a little bit about the ferry ride. The spirit of Tasmania. I'll chalk it down to an experience, and that's what I've done. And it was a pretty full-on day. So Law stayed on the Sunday night at our house, which was really lovely. We woke up on Monday and ate some food on the floor, and Law drove in with us to St Kilda, and we ended up being there like 2 hours early. Yeah, I went to a cafe, got a coffee. The boys were pretty good, like, all day, which was really good. Hunter came with me and Harper went with Grant. Then we went to a park for a little while down at the St Kilda foreshore. It was a pretty incredible day, actually. I think the universe may have been interpreting my feelings a little bit into the weather. So the water was really choppy. There was a lot of clouds, some blue sky. It was super windy. Some of the water was calm in places, and it was just like, it was really beautiful. It was starting, like the sun was starting to go down, so some little sun rays were peeking through the clouds. It was just like amazing. It was beautiful, and there were lots of kite surfers out. So we went down and watched them for a little while, and then we actually still had quite a while to go until we knew we'd be able to get onto the boat. But Law and I decided that it was time to say goodbye because she needed to get home to the girls. Her mum was really lovely and helped out lots over those last few days. It was getting a bit late, close to dinner time and bath time and all of that jazz. We were just like, obviously we didn't want to say goodbye, but we had to. We said our goodbyes. It was really hard. Law gives excellent cuddles, so she makes it really hard to let go. We were both bawling our eyes out in our cars, so I got out and gave her one more ginormous cuddle. I told her that she had to go and to drive safe, and that I'd talk to her from the ferry. Law drove out and turned right, and we turned left, and we could see the Spirit of Tasmania had already pulled into port, so we drove up to line up. We've heard some people can wait kind of an hour or two in lines waiting to get onto the boat, so we just kind of had our fingers crossed because it was getting to that kind of time of night where the boys could get pretty ruddy. They were tired and they'd slept on lilos the night before, so but it actually went really quickly. We went through the line, then went through like the quarantine, and then we drove kind of, it's quite like intertwining. It's a bit like a maze. You drive up and down and to the next point where we got our tickets for our cabin. I'm not very good, like I was really sad leaving Law. I was a bit nervous, like it was really happening. We were getting onto the Spirit of Tasmania, so I was pretty stressed actually. And at the quarantine checkpoint they sent us to two different queues, so Grant went in one and I went in the other, and I got through really quickly, and Grant was still waiting 2 cars behind before it was his turn to be checked. I was far ahead of him, which made me pretty anxious that we got separated. I was just really nervous, and yeah, I was just really nervous. So the experience of actually driving onto the boat is one of the most epic things I've ever done, I think. I haven't done that much in my life, but it was amazing. You sort of drive up a huge boat ramp and then drive, you know, over a couple of other ramps, load your car, and you're in this huge boat. The only other boat I've been on was the Sydney to Manly ferries when I lived in Sydney. So this was just huge. It was just phenomenal. Yeah, got on there, but then I was alone with Hunter, and I had the huge overnight bag, and then my backpack, the tickets, had all the responsibility, mate. And I had Hunter, who was getting tired, didn't really want to walk. So we walked up to like the main level that we had to go to, and then I had no idea how to read my ticket. I had to walk all the way down to the other end of the boat, and I had this huge bag, and Hunter was literally like starting to throw himself on the floor and have like a good proper tantrum, and it was just hard. I was tired, I was sad, I was nervous, and I had no idea where Grant was. Yeah, experience. So we went down, spoke to a really lovely receptionist lady. She told me which cabin we were in, so we walked all the way back down to the other end of the boat and walked up a level and went down to our cabins, and it was really nice actually. Put our bags down, got all settled. Then we went down and had some dinner, and then we went back to the room. The boys had a shower. We got like, it's called like a deluxe cabin, so we could all be in there together. So Hunty was in like a little porta cot that they provided, and Harpy slept on the bed with us. That was the plan, at least. People said that it was going to be pretty choppy, but I didn't really want to know, so I didn't really look into it, because I was like, if I know, it's just going to make me nervous and anxious, and if I get seasick, it's just going to make that 10 times worse. Grant and I had some travel calm. The boys had some like anti-nausea seasickness medicine stuff. Hunter's on his little... yeah, so the boys actually had some Phenergan as well, which I've never given them before, but I just thought, you know what, like, I'm going to give it to them because we're going on a huge boat and I don't want them to be vomiting all night and just struggling. So they were fine. They actually slept through the whole night, like no problems. Grant and I had, I think, maybe like an hour or so sleep, and then we were both woken up by huge waves. Yeah. I actually get quite scared just even talking about it. It was terrifying. I've never experienced anything like that before, because it was nighttime as well. I couldn't see anything. I had no point of reference. I had no horizon to kind of get my bearings from. All I could hear was the waves crashing over the windows. You would go up and you could feel yourself going up, 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 and then it was like you could feel when you're at the top of the wave, and it would almost be like the boat would get some air and then it would come back down, and as it was coming down it was crashing, like hearing, just all hearing senses, so there was no sight and feeling. So when you're at the top of the wave, it's like you got air, and it was just this horrible weight of the boat coming back down. I was quite scared. I felt like I was just stuck in a nightmare because I couldn't see anything. I could only hear and feel. And Grant said at one point he actually thought, oh my god, what have we done? Like, we've brought the kids on this boat, we're gonna all drown and die. Which obviously is really dramatic. They're the things that you think. We've never felt waves like that before in our lives, and it was pretty terrifying. So eventually I was like, I can't stay in this room because I get a bit claustrophobic as well. Get a little bit anxious when I'm nervous. I get claustrophobic and I also get seasick. It was also bloody terrifying because of the size of these waves. So I looked like a bloody crazy person, had no shoes on, left the cabin dressed. I think. No, I was dressed. Actually, I was trying to walk down this corridor. I just thought I've got to go and find someone to help me. Like, it was only 11 o'clock at night. We didn't get into Devonport until 6:30 the next morning. So I was like, I cannot spend the next like 6 or 7 hours like this. I need help. Walking down the hallway literally like this, like trying to get down the hallway, and I just couldn't walk because the waves were so massive, and I just thought, oh, far out, like I'm gonna pass out and, you know, just be in the middle of a corridor and no one will know I'm here. I'm just gonna get bunked around, bunk, 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 bunk. Found a couple of people, and she was like, oh love, you can't be walking around without any shoes on. And I just said, look, I need help. I'm really sick. They were really so lovely, so lovely. She said, just, you know, lie down, we'll keep an eye on you. And I think that's where I got a lot of my sleep, although I fell off the chair a couple of times because I must have been lying against the wave, like the rock of the waves, so it would like rock and then I would get thrown off the side of this quite thin chair. So I spent the night there, really. The crew were absolutely amazing. Then they said, you know, we came to check on you. I was sick a couple more times, but it really calmed down once I was out of the cabin. So I think like claustrophobia and fear may have been contributing to my nausea in that space. But also the next day we found out that like we were literally at the very front of the boat, which is the worst cabin on the whole ship apparently. So they told us like a specific level in cabin to request if we ever go back on it again, which I won't be for a long time, if ever. That's why it was so intense when we were going up and down the waves, because we were at like the nose of the boat. So, and then I spoke to a few people and they said it was really, really bad like that night, because I said I felt like we were on this angle and they said you probably were on that angle. Yeah, so that was that really. But thank God the boys slept, like they slept through not a wink. It was probably the Finnegan, let's be honest. So thank God for Finnegan. Anyway, that was our experience of the Spirit of Tasmania. Is what it is, and it was what it was, and it's an experience, and it got us to Tassie. So the next morning we went down to our cars and we left. Awesome time of day to arrive. We got coffee and we chug-a-lugged on our way, headed down south. We went down to Mum and Dad's first. They live in a suburb called Gordon, which is about half an hour from where we live now. And Grant and Dad went and got the keys for our house, and then the rest is history. So much stuff. I'm gonna do a house tour, but not in this video because otherwise this video will just be epic. Basically, we're really, really happy. Can't really even put into words how fulfilled I feel for taking this step and taking this risk and stepping outside of our comfort zone and stepping beyond all of the fear that we felt, because we are in the most amazing place, you know, and we did it. So that's an awesome feeling. And I think back to how unhappy I was sort of living in the suburbs and how much I wanted this, and now we have it, and it's just like the world is a canvas and you can do whatever you want to do. Like, it's really bloody hard work and it's painful. Like, we've had to leave everyone that we love and everything that we know. So it's certainly not easy. Like, I think there's this real like romantic notion of following your dreams and it's all like sparkles and glitter. but it's actually not. Like, it's tears and anger and pain and tiredness and, you know, adrenaline and all of those things as well. And then there's just this feeling of real kind of fulfillment, I guess. I feel like I understand myself more because I've pushed past that barrier of my own personal fear that was really turning into a bit of a resentment because I wasn't doing anything about it. I wasn't doing anything about stepping outside of my fear, but I was starting to resent my life and the life that I was leading, and I guess where things were going in terms of me and my place in the world. It is amazing. Just sort of touch base because there's been some random videos because I just wanted to do like a few videos and vlogs here and there of when we first arrived. Life is amazing, and I wish I could describe the feeling to you that I had in my tummy. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know. It's like my stomach's been flipped inside out. Everything that I was feeling has been turned on its head. It's almost like I'm living a different life. I mean, I am living a different life, that's exactly what it feels like, but I've never known what it feels like to live a different life. I don't know if any of that made sense. That's it for now. Super cool. Wow. Super duper cool. Grant set up our egg chair in this amazing tree that we call Harper's tree because when we came to look at this house, I actually had a vision of Harper climbing this tree. And he has. He's been climbing it ever since we moved here. He just loves it. So yeah, it's amazing. I will chat to you soon. I hope you enjoyed my update. Okay, bye.